I hate that argumentation. That well, you know, if someone played absolutely perfectly,
So
this would be the best character.
Here's what I think. In the matchups where Chun is 5-5 or a bad matchup for Chun, if you have to sort of play close to perfect to really come out ahead and make it dominant.
Right.
But if you have a favorable matchup like Chun versus Laura, you can afford to make a few mistakes and still come out ahead, and because it gives you that buffer, because you're ahead. You're never playing from equal or behind. You should just always be ahead. There's like, aside from when Laura is inside of you, there's no space where she has control.
Yeah.
So look, you have so many options. So let's take a look. I'm gonna use the Third Strike as an example. When you play against the Kuma as Chun in Third Strike, a little bit different. But what you do is he wants to throw fireballs.
Third Strike Chun is a little different.
Here,
let's not be playing that game
Hear me
now.
out. So he throws the fireball, right?
Yes.
And it's the same thing here. Laura wants to throw the fireball because that's how she advances.
Right.
So you want to stand at a range where you're just at the bare minimum with stand fierce range. And then whenever she throws the fireball, just punch her in the face. And you just stuff her out of it. And if she jumps, you anti-air her. Because she's a great anti-air range.
Yeah.
It's just, you have to maintain your spacing because Chun is a very spacing dependent character.
I don't know. I feel like that's a wonderful theory that if you get it clean like that and the Laura player allows you to do that, that's great. But right now we got Laura up against Balrog, SegaTRON Nashu, and this is a matchup we've seen many a time, and it's really just sort of like, yeah, you can bring Balrog down to like a real low HP, but he can come back like a monster.
As much as everyone thinks Balrog is just this character to just like, you roll your face on the fight stick or the hitbox, I think he's like really patient. At least like, okay, when you watch Smug play, right? Smug's like super patient. He will just sit there. So, I mean, you can play him either way, but I think that in theory maybe Balrog has the advantage here because
there we go.
He has a choice of what he wants to do.
Yep.
Whether he wants to be patient or whether he wants to go in. Whereas Laura sort of has to push forward, I think. But from a theoretical standpoint, I haven't played the matchup.
Yeah.
Laura has to really be careful of her buttons. You get hit once, you get EX, you get pushed to the corner. Whereas just to fish a bit more. Whereas I guess like Balrog has the big button advantage.
Yep.
Because Laura's buttons aren't really that amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
like I feel like possibly like Laura's best button is like like the dashing sort of stuff. That's like standard across the board.
Sure.
But like we've been seeing like the heavy kick there, having just enough space to like contest those sort of big buttons that that Balrog wants to press.
Well,
so,
if you ever counter poke Balrog, you can just confirm no combo, which is really good. I mean, just because he has better buttons than you doesn't mean you have to counter poke him. You can be Alex and counter poke Chun-Li. It is possible.
Yes.
You just have to have your spacing properly. But if you try to counter poke Chun-Li and you get punched in the face because she sees what you're doing,
right.
Sort of the same thing here. Balrog sees what you're trying to do, he just punch you in the face. And he has rush punch.
Yeah,
and at worst,
against rush punch, here we go.
Yeah. At worst,
running in. Oh, throws the super into what was coming at him. And
the super was smart because he was about to get stuck.
Yes.
So it definitely made sense.
He did toss a lot of his all of his meter into that, but you know,
I don't agree.
Whatever.
But nice.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah.
Ooh, doesn't actually catch on that.
That was it.
Gotta watch it. Ooh, there we go. Charging in, making this difficult. And then like the slowdown. This is where Nashu gets really scary. When you give him an inch, he was absolutely about to take a mile, but SegaTRON was able to close it out before everything kind of came to a head.
Final round. Fight.
First counter and then pushing.
Yep. There we go. And this is like kind of like exactly what SegaTRON wants to be able to see inside a match. Pushing Laura into a corner is like super good because usually she's the one that has like all that like sort of space to kind of play with, but not in this case. And that's also the thing. Like you were saying, Balrog is a patient character.
He can be.
He can be, and I think like that really sort of fits like SegaTRON's like play, coming from Guile, coming from like all these sort of like more charge focused, very slow paced characters. But Nashu, he found his opening and he's doing the push. Oh my God! Actually grabs the V reversal, and there you go, Nashu. And like that's Laura things. Like the matchup, like yeah, that was game one. That's just rough. You made like it was literally just like the grabbing the V reversal that like absolutely like kind of sealed his fate at that point.
I mean, that's the mix-up.
Yeah.
in reality, you can OS most of your buttons with throw to grab for your reversals. You just have to know where to do it.
Right.
Not every button, but if you're fishing for it, you can fish for it without committing. But if you commit and you hit the command grab, it's a big chunk of damage. So
Definitely. Oh, doesn't actually take him out from the air, and that's allowing Nashu to actually put a lot of pressure on. There we go. Hands and elbows and knees. Oh, god damn.
one more hit for the stun.
Jiu-jitsu. Oh, but
Very
no,
nice.
actually fights out of it. He was trying to go for the overhead, but the quicker buttons from Balrog definitely went out. Looking for it. Jumps over top. Would have been the self in the corner, though.
Yeah, nope.
A little bit rough. Yeah, there it is.
Elbow and V trigger is just...
It's Nashu looking absolutely on point right here.
Round 2. Fight.
And like that's the thing. Like that's the thing you need to know how to do when you're playing specific, like very much even like this game out of like almost. I don't want to say like every other. Yeah, you know what? Every other fucking game. I don't even care. Come at me, chat. When you are in advantage and you have something, you gotta make the most out of it.
Right.
And that's what Nashu's really good at doing, because he's willing to throw stuff in there. He's not worried about like being like, oh, what's like the most sort of optimal sort of idea. Like, yeah, he has that stuff, but most of the time, it's just, I'm gonna keep throwing stuff at you, and then that pushes you. And you're just like, well, I'm in the corner now, and that's
Right.
Nashu.
Actually, going on that, one thing I noticed playing Chun today was, and I heard this from. See, I always thought her standing light kick is. It might be the best anti-air, honestly.